Many of you are quite familiar with making adjustments to your pattern to accommodate a more rounded back than what the pattern has been designed for. Now, on a basic pattern with a shoulder dart, the method is well documented, and I even created video tutorials on this as well. But what do you do when the style has a back yoke? I'm Alexandra Morgan from In-House Patterns and In-House Pattern Studio. Join me today to learn how to eliminate a back yoke seam to better understand how to alter the pattern for more prominent back contour shaping. Let's take a look at the In-House Patterns Lila sewing pattern so that you understand how the back contour shaping is incorporated into the yoke seam. So here we have the Lila sewing pattern, and I'm going to demonstrate how to recognize where the back contour shaping is in a style with a yoke. So you can see here that the Lila pattern definitely has a little yoke here. This is just representing the two different size categories that I have available. And I'm going to be actually demonstrating this on just the size 2 here. Now, to actually recognize where the back contour shaping is in a style with a yoke, what you want to do is take the yoke piece and you're going to basically join it to the lower back portion. So what I'm going to do is just slash along the center back line of the yoke just so that I'm working with just one half of the yoke. Now that I have the yoke piece here, just so that it's going to actually join together with the back, the next thing I'm going to do is just fold back the seam allowance. Now, the Lila pattern is a fitting essentials pattern, which means it has a lot of markings on it that are going to help you fit the pattern to your body. So what I'm going to do is actually fold along this seam line of the yoke where the yoke joins the back piece. Now, when you have the seam allowance of the back yoke folded back, you can then easily stack the seam lines on top of each other for the back yoke seam. Now, when you do this, what you want to make sure is that the back yoke center back seam is aligned with the center back seam of the bodice. So what you're going to do is make sure that that ends up being a straight line. When you have that, you can definitely secure it in place, just to sort of test things out here and see what we're working with. Now, when you have that, what you're going to see is that there's actually some dart volume incorporated into this back yoke seam. So you can see here that there's a dart, an invisible dart, in fact, that is about 5/8 of an inch in volume. And you can see it tapers to nothing at about the mid-back area, so about a quarter of the back, across back area. This is actually showing you that there is contour shaping incorporated into the pattern. Now that you know where the dart shaping is located in the back yoke, you can begin to understand how you can manipulate the pattern to better accommodate your personal back contour shaping. Now, in order to make it easier for you to understand how to manipulate this invisible dart, let me show you how to remove the yoke seam and rotate the invisible dart to the shoulder seam. Now, if your back is more rounded than what this particular little invisible dart accommodates, what you can do is actually rotate this dart to the shoulder seam and join the back yoke to the back so that you can more easily understand how to alter for your rounded back issues. So what I'm going to do is show you how to basically put this dart volume back into the shoulder seam in order for you to be able to do your standard rounded back adjustment. So our first step in this case is going to be to kind of discover exactly where our dart is. So of course we're going to use this as one of our dart legs, and you'll see that I still have these joined together. Seam lines are stacked on top of each other. What I want you to do is go from this seam line point here at the armhole and draw a straight line along that seam line. You're going to see at some point here that the seam line starts to curve away. Don't be concerned about that. That is just comes with kind of fine tuning this seam. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to find the equivalent length on the other side. So in other words, this is one of your dart legs. The other dart leg will be a along this seam line. But in order to find the point, we need to make sure that we find the right position here. So I'm going to measure this line to the point where it meets the yoke seam. And you can see here it's about 2 3/8 of an inch long. And my other dart leg, which has to match, as you know, is also 2 3/8. So in essence, if this had no yoke seam, what that would mean is I would have a little mini dart here at the back armhole. Now, in order to do your rounded back adjustment in the standard way that most fitting books will actually show you, what we're going to do is transfer this lovely little dart volume to the shoulder seam. So what we can do at this point is basically create a slash line so that we can pivot and rotate this dart up to the shoulder seam. So what I'm going to do is just draw a perpendicular line from the shoulder seam line there. And then I'm going to just join it to that invisible dart point right here. So in other words, what I'm going to do is I'm going to slash through. I'm going to create a pivot point right here, and you're going to see how I can pivot the dart out of here and put it back into the shoulder line. So now that we've got this slash through, I can show you now how you can simply close this dart volume, this invisible dart, and it will automatically open up here at the shoulder line. With the back shoulder dart rotated to the shoulder seam, you can proceed with your standard rounded back adjustment. I will leave a link on this page to a video tutorial on how to do just that. Just a note here, all sewing patterns don't incorporate the back shoulder dart in this same way. Some sewing patterns will leave this invisible dart volume as gape in the back armhole, or perhaps ease in the back shoulder seam. So if you are working with a different pattern, this invisible dart may not be as evident as my example here. Now, the Lila sewing pattern is a fitting essentials sewing pattern. When you purchase this pattern, you get access to an in-house pattern studio account where you'll find the PDF pattern files and helpful video tutorials specific to the pattern. You'll get fitting guidance, garment construction techniques, and pattern design projects that will give you the ability to take this pattern even further. Now, if you've already purchased the Lila sewing pattern, check into your in-house pattern studio account to see a new video tutorial that I created just for you. I think you're going to love it. If you don't have the Lila pattern yet, I hope you'll check it out using the link that I will leave for you on this page. Now, so tell me, did you find this tutorial helpful? Let me know in the comments. You know, I always love to hear from you. I'll chat with you soon. Bye for now.